Traders and investors, what is going on? We're back. Been a little bit. Love you guys. Miss you guys. Um, Quick little update. Change of circumstances really at work. Last year and the beginning of this year was a lot of product development. So I was at my desk a lot. More recently, a lot of test set design and developing, on the manufacturing floor a lot. So I'm not at my desk. Um, can't stare at my charts all day. So when I get home, not only do I need to attend to the standard things, but then I have to do research and film and edit, and then I need to get to bed. It's just, I don't have the time to do it anymore. So that's why videos get pushed to weekends now. But greener pastures are ahead. I know it. So be patient. But for now, we're just going to be doing, the weekend stuff and things. So, how do you trade stuff that's moving this aggressively with conviction? I get that question a lot. I don't know why I like playing with fire. I just really enjoy trading momentum, low floats. I love it, especially when we get the setup, right? And so we're going to talk about what that setup looks like. What are the criteria? How you can identify an opportunity like this before it's all the way over here, right? Because that's the problem. Stuff moving this quickly, if you sit on your hands for too long, you just miss the opportunity and then you're just chasing. So first of all, what's the news? Everyone knows the news. There's a lot of baby mama drama with social media companies in general right now. All the privacy stuff, just bad earnings in general for the sector. So the fact that Trump was taking a company public like this, social media company that kind of answers that privacy issue among some other things, tied to Trump too, mind you. Let's go, Brandon. Uh, you had a juicy little headline there. So criteria one, news. Doesn't have to have news, but it helps, right? And so let me backtrack a little bit. I'm going to be talking about my criteria for trading these things and some criteria that I've learned and came to love and use. It's the 91-20 rule from Momo, Chat, and Atlas. And so I'll throw that up on screen right now. So the 91-20 rule says when a lower float momentum play gets to 90%, it will often continue to build momentum until it reaches 120%. Next, if the volume holds and continues to drag in new buyers, it often will go to 180 and then 240, sometimes more. And so this is all based off of Fibonacci extensions, human psychology levels, and just the simple fact that, once a stock is ran up to 100, 120%, you can't really average down anymore as a short. And you're going to either, panic cover or you're going to get liquidated, force covered by your broker. And so that's the 91-20 rule. So I called that out on this guy around lunchtime. I was kind of late to the game. But let's backtrack once again. So let's say you see this thing setting up. You get the news. News looks good. What's the next thing? Well, what's the volume doing pre-market? What's the relative volume? There isn't relative volume because this thing's been dead. So, general rule of thumb, millions of shares every couple minutes pre-market. That's high volume. What was this thing doing? Yeah, like every 5-minute candle was close to 1 million shares after 7 o'clock. That's high. I always say, what does 7 a.m. say? That's when the big brokers start to open, and that's when the volume pours in. And so you see it slowly ramping from that point, just slowly more and more volume rolling in. So that's good. Also, what's the float? I think this is a 22 million float, so you want to have ideally sub 100 million. And also, as always, what are the levels? Not really any past levels back here because it's been dead. So all we really have to work with is the pre-market high, the pre-market low, and then I always look at after the point of first rejection, where does it catch at? And so it found support right here at about 1460. So let's say you're watching this thing and you see it start to curl up, so you take your starter. At open, the volume is insane. And you notice that we never really come back to test this pre-market low. Sometimes there's a little flush at open, a little dip and rip. I would add this in here. I wouldn't add down here, but I would add this, and my stop would be right under that. Now, So it didn't pull back to that point, bullish, holds VWAP, holds the 10. And this level is kind of significant as after the support broke down, this is the next, big spot that it caught at. Not only that, but as it started to curl back up to test that point, it rejected it again and then sold off further to the pre-market low. So that's an area that I wanted to watch. So it pulls back, and this is a point people are looking to add. Look what happens. It never even gets there. It just pushes off the 10. You have so many buyers that are looking to add in this area, probably seeing the level 2 stacked. They just shift their order up a little bit so they're sure they get filled. So would I have added that? Maybe. I probably wouldn't have got filled because my fill would have been a little bit lower like in here. However, when I see it come back up and make a new high and start to reject that point, I'm almost assuming that we're not going to do some stair steps. It's not going to quite get back to this point. And look, it doesn't. Just the price action is so strong that the buyers push it through this level. And so at this point, if I was watching it, I would have bought this break. I would have probably slapped, a good chunk on there. And then I might have even added this right here, this little pullback. You see it gets to a level, rejects it a little bit, and then tests it and breaks it. It gets to a level, tests it a little bit, rejects it, and then breaks it. So I would assume that the trend is going to hold. Also note, where that's catching over here, low level. So I probably would have added this, and you would have been off to the races at that point, right? So, we did a video talking about Ripster's clouds. It's a couple of the last videos we talked about it. And, we said if you get the 512 cloud, you got the 512 cloud crossing all the other clouds to the upside, there's a good chance that it's about to rip. And, notice it rejects at that point. Coincidentally, that was the pre-market high. And it comes down here. 8-9, always a hot ad zone. Touches that, pushes off it, and breaks through. And then it was just an all-day, 512 cloud ride after that. Mind you, all along, you're moving your stops up. Never leave anything to chance. At least have a stop for, a part of your position. So based on the clouds, the trend is still strong. You could have pretty much just held this. I would have been more inclined to scale a lot off in here. You see the momentum dying off. You see the angle, was ramping, price action ramping. But for the last, 2 hours of the market, or for at least, about an hour there, we were losing momentum. And you see it start to, kind of chop sideways. I would have, taken a good chunk off there, and I would have been looking for, the end-of-day sell-off. There's often, traders just taking profits, getting out. People don't trade after hours. Lots of, some big boys don't do after hours. So you have, a lot of people getting out. Also shorts kind of shorting this on the way down. And then people that don't want to stay short, and overnight this thing. You have covering. And you also have buyers coming in because that's kind of an ad zone there. There's been support here in the past. So, there's buyers lining up. And so sadly, I was on the floor, but I told you guys to watch this point. I said there's probably going to be an end-of-the-day sell-off. This thing has a 20 million float, memeable ticker. It has a good chance to do, the multi-day thing. And it sure as shit did. But I missed my ad, and I wasn't going to chase. And I knew I was going to be busy in the morning, so I didn't have time for something like this. But we ended up catching another one. We caught BENE. So only got to play a little bit of this, didn't get any of this action, but we got all of BENE at least. I mean, and honestly, if you were watching the stream, you probably would have found out about all of these things before me because I don't have my stream up when I'm at work. You probably would have been getting price spikes. Let's check them out. Yeah, dude, Friday was so crazy, like, it doesn't even go back far at all. But anyways, I'm not the key. You seeing me post in Discord, you seeing other people tweet about stuff, that's not the answer to becoming a good trader. You're the answer. So develop your skill set, and develop ways to to come across opportunities like this before it's gone in a great way is, a scanner, man. It's not the end all be all, but it sure as shit is going to bring things to your attention before you have the ability to even come across it. Not only that, but we got the squawk on, it's reading you the news. I probably would have found out about BENE sooner if I had this up, but I didn't. So do the thing. Anyways, moving on. So I called BENE at about 12:50, like 10 minutes after the news broke. CEO Patrick Orlando is a chairman and CEO also of Digital Word Acquisitions. And I said I was going to scalp this. I knew it was going to moon, any sympathy play. I mean, look at fun. I knew this thing was going to run, so I called it. Not only did I call it, but I was at my desk, so I was able to walk you guys, kind of through this as good as I could. Told you it was 11 million float. This could definitely halt. This is doable. And I thought that, because I saw it flip to none to borrow, so that means that all the shares available to short on TD all of a sudden were shorted. They were used. And literally 2 minutes later, it halted. Always keep an eye on warrants. Does it have warrants? BENE was moving a lot harder. I ended up switching to that. But I told you my line in the sand is 14.6, 14.7. Reason being, like 14.67 was that break right there. If this support wasn't there, I was out, right? And so I have my stop at like 14.55, something like that. And I'm glad I got stopped because it broke down from there. Not only that, but look at the clouds. Clouds look kind of nasty. That 5-minute candle, I would have, been hitting flat in position if I didn't have a stop in place. But I knew what I was doing. Low floats move rapidly. I always have stops. I've played that game too many times. So I ended up getting stopped out for 3.5 points. Got in around 11 something before that 12 break. Then I got stopped. Then I bought the 12 break. But yes, traders, I do the things when I can. I do the videos when I can. I'm always in Discord, always on Twitter. Thanks for your support. I hope you enjoyed. Hit the thing, do the stuff. Follow me on the stuff and things if you don't. Join the Discord. And I'll see you in the next one, traders.